Welcome to Pageant Archive, the chronicle of women empowerment in the world of fashion, runway and pageantry.
Good day pageant archivers. Today, let us talk about dethronement and resignations in beauty pageant history. Dethronement and resignations are rare for every beauty pageant due to various reasons, including violation of contest rules, personal conduct issues, or changes in personal circumstances, but when it does occur, it creates media attention. Dethronement refers to the removal of a title holder from their position, often initiated by the beauty pageant organization if the title holder is found to have breached the guidelines set forth for participants. This can include behavior that contradicts the pageant's values or failing to fulfill the responsibilities associated with the title. Resignation occurs when a title holder voluntarily steps down from their position, often due to personal reasons, conflicts, or the desire to pursue other opportunities. Both situations can attract significant media attention and provoke discussions around the expectations placed on title holders. MRS World. In April 2021, Caroline Jury, then reigning 2020 Mrs. World winner and former Mrs. Sri Lanka World, was the subject of global controversy after she took the crown off from the head of 2021 Mrs. Sri Lanka World winner Pushpika de Silva, announcing that the winner should be married but not divorced. Shortly after, the Mrs. World organization announced that Kate Schneider from Ireland, who was the first runner-up when Jury won the title, was named Mrs. World 2020 following the voluntary resignation of Jury. Mr. Universe Tourism. Benigno Ion Perez of the Philippines, who was crowned Mr. Universe Tourism 2018, has announced that he resigned as Mr. Universe Tourism despite his failure to submit an official letter of resignation. But according to the organization, it was due to the personal turn of events and for his disappearance and inability to fulfill his obligations and responsibilities. Breda Manggala Putra Kartasasmita of Indonesia, who finished first runner-up, assumed the crown. Top Model. Top Model of the World is an international contest held annually to search the ultimate model. Natalia Guimaraes, the Top Model of the World 2006 winner, was dethroned because she resigned her title to represent Brazil in Miss Universe 2007, where she placed first runner-up. Michelle de Leon from the Philippines, who was the first runner-up in the 2006 Top Model of the World competition, was then named the new Top Model of the World. Mr. Gay World. In 2015, the winner of the competition, Mr. Gay Germany Klaus Burkhardt, stepped down 7 months later citing personal changes, and was replaced by Mr. Gay Hong Kong, Mas Luciano. In text messages to the 2016 contestants, provided to Daily Extra, Sapper hinted at an investigation that had taken place at the competition, but was never reported in the media. In November 2021, Mr. Gay World South Africa 2021 Lou Breidenbach resigned because he refused to sign the final contract when he realized it stipulated the organization would be his exclusive agent for any bookings or acting gigs. The title was given to South African runner-up Bong Inkosi Endima, who then resigned in March 2022, and then Mr. Gay World Philippines 2021 Joel Ray Carquezana took over the title Mr. Gay World 2021. Miss Asia Pacific World. Miss Asia Pacific World 2011 Florima Triber of France. Pageant officials claimed that Florima was dethroned for failing to fulfill her contract, but Florima alleges that she was dethroned after questioning the validity of the contract. Ukrainian supermodel Diana Starkova replaced Triber as the new Miss Asia Pacific World 2011. In the 2014 Miss Asia Pacific World competition, May Mayatno of Myanmar crowned on May 31, 2014, but dethroned 3 months later. The organizers claim that she repeatedly complained about her schedule after the win and wanted her mother to stay with her during that 3-month period without having to pay the added expenses that would be incurred. This prompted the organization to conduct a new pageant in the following months. The title was assumed by Smita Raj from India. Miss Intercontinental. In 1989, Bianca Ajokwu, representing Nigeria, became the first African winner of the Miss Intercontinental pageant. She made history as the first African to win the Miss Intercontinental crown. Several months after winning the title, she opted to resign rather than ending it, after it emerged that she was in a relationship with the former Biafran leader and Ikemba of New Ichikwamika Odumekwu Ajokwu. A political associate of her father who was 34 years her senior. One tabloid falsely reported that she was pregnant. Dominican Republic's Brenda Mart assumed the title. Miss Grand International. Ania Garcia of the Dominican Republic, who was crowned Miss Grand International 2015, was stripped of her title 5 months later due to her alleged inability to fulfill her responsibilities. Because of her studies, several times responsibilities had to be rescheduled, events cancelled, changed, or lost international flights. The organization added that Garcia had become very demanding, always asking for things which were not promised or part of the contract she signed. Following Garcia's dethronement, Australia's Claire Elizabeth Parker was chosen as her replacement for the 2015 title. Miss Earth. In Miss Earth, the 2002 winner, Jojla Glavovic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, was dethroned of her crown 6 months into her reign, after she failed to show up at several environmental events. According to Carousel Productions, organizer of the Miss Earth contest, Glavovic was dethroned because of her inability to fulfill the duties and responsibilities as the Miss Earth title holder, in accordance with the rules and regulations set forth in the Miss Earth contract that she signed. She was succeeded by first runner-up Winfreda Mwakwi of Kenya as Miss Earth 2002. Miss International. In Miss International, Akumi Yoshimatsu, Miss International 2012 was the first title holder of the pageant from Japan to be dethroned shortly before the end of her reign, but she was not replaced. She was ordered by the International Culture Association Miss International organizer to skip the succession ceremony and play sick and shut up out of fear of scandal. The Miss International organizer cited the reason for her dethronement was due to her involvement in a contract dispute with the talent agency in which she claimed that she was pressured to sign. Miss World. In Miss World history, there have been a few instances of dethronements or resignations, including Marjorie Wallace 1973, Helen Morgan 1974, and Gabriella Brum 1980. Here's a more detailed look at some of the notable dethronements and resignations in Miss World history. Marjorie Wallace was the first American to be crowned as Miss World in 1973 but was stripped of her title 104 days after being crowned, becoming the first Miss World to have her title taken away. The reason cited was her failure to fulfill the basic requirements of the job. However, she was seen having an affair with singer Tom Jones while being engaged to Formula One driver Peter Revson, which was a violation of the Miss World rules. The title was not offered to any of the other contestants, but first runner-up, Evangeline Pascual of the Philippines, preempted the decision by declaring she was not interested in the second-hand crown and claimed she was already too busy making a movie. The second runner-up, Patsy Yoon of Jamaica, undertook some of the pre-scheduled engagements in place of Wallace that could not be cancelled. Helen Morgan, who was crowned Miss Wales and then Miss United Kingdom, won Miss World 1974 but resigned 4 days after being crowned. She was forced to resign only 4 days after winning the pageant, upon the media creating extremely negative and lurid headlines as she was an unwed mother with an 18-month-old son. This had never been hidden from the time she was crowned Miss Wales, but the lurid headlines in the hours immediately following her win at Miss World, particularly interviews given by the wife of the child's father, created extreme pressure on Morgan and the Miss World organization. The first runner-up, Anline Creel of South Africa, succeeded her. Morgan became the first winner to resign, and the second Miss World title holder not to finish her reign. Gabriela Brum of Germany had the shortest reign in Miss World history, resigning her title 18 hours after being crowned Miss World 1980. Initially, she claimed her boyfriend disapproved, but it later emerged that she had been forced to resign after it was discovered she had posed naked for a magazine. Second place Kimberly Santos of Guam replaced Brum by default. Miss Universe. In its early years, there were two instances where the reigning Miss Universe opted to resign from her position. Armi Kusela, Miss Universe 1952 from Finland, who held the distinction of being the first Miss Universe winner to give up her crown in less than a year. Kusela gave up her crown and her acting career shortly before her reigning year was over, not just for anything but for the love of her life. Armi got married to Filipino businessman Virgilio Ilario, in the year 1953, who she met while on tour on her duty as Miss Universe. While Amparo Muñoz, Miss Universe 1974 of Spain, refused to travel to Japan and instead resigned after 6 months of her reign. However, since the pageant had no concrete rule on resignation at that time, they were allowed to keep their titles. The most infamous dethroning in Miss Universe history is that of Oksana Fedorova, the winner from Russia. Crowned Miss Universe in 2002, Fedorova charmed audiences with her poise and intellect, making history as the first winner of the nation. However, just 4 months into her reign, the Miss Universe organization stripped her of the title, citing her failure to fulfill her duties. Reports at the time suggested that Fedorova was more focused on completing her law degree and returning to her police training in Russia than attending events or fulfilling her obligations as Miss Universe. Fedorova later claimed that she voluntarily gave up the title, but the official stance remains that she was dethroned. She was replaced by the first runner-up, Justine Pasek of Panama, marking the first time a Miss Universe crown had been passed to a runner-up. Thank you so much for watching. Until our next presentation on the Pageantry Archive.
Before leaving, please do click the like, subscribe and hit notify buttons.